Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Tim Stoddart. Welcome to Tim Stodds FM. Thank you so much for joining me. I spent a lot of time on today's post, a lot of time. And the reason being is that I'm a little nervous to come off as insensitive or to be offending some people. It truly isn't my intention. So I was very careful about how I formulated this post and how I said the things that I wanted to say. I'll give you a little bit of context. I was inspired to write this post because I've been spending a lot of time on a relatively new social media platform called Medium. Medium is basically like a social site for writers. You create a profile and people follow you, and then every time you post a new blog article, your followers get notified, and it's really cool. Like, I've been enjoying my time there because I've been kind of networking and meeting other people that have a passion for writing and for the written word, and it's been great. So the thing that's happened, and I don't know if it's like because I'm a liberal person, so the Medium algorithm is like feeding me content that is very activist-y and very liberal. But because of that, there's been a whole lot of blogs put in front of me that just come across as kind of complaining and a little victim mentality. And I'm torn because one side of me as a human being is all about many different human rights causes. I think it's super important, and even aside from that, like, I think it's important to give people an outlet where they can express these things. But on the other side of me, I'm concerned that the method of which we go about trying to create these changes that we want to see in the world is very, very ineffective. And so what I did is I wrote a post about how, in my experience, the best way to create actual change is. And I will tell you that it's not writing very offended blog posts on Medium. So that's where the inspiration for this post came from. It's a little bit longer than others, not too much longer. I suppose it'll take me about 6 or 7 minutes to read. But I really, really hope you enjoy it, because I'm not kidding you guys. I spent a lot of time on this, and I wanted to portray my message in a way that was clear and concise and, maybe uncomfortable for some people to hear, but very honest at the same time. So let's get into it, shall we? Today's post is called How to Toughen Up. My dad always told me never to complain. It won't get you anywhere. People don't like complainers, and they don't like whiners. The reason being that everyone has their own problems to deal with. It comes off as unbecoming. My dad's exact words would be, don't complain, because no one cares. The problem with fairness. In my experience, talking about how unfair things are is a poor way to get anything done. You will find way more success in any cause by improving yourself rather than trying to change other people. The only thing you can control is your actions. Better yet, the only thing you can control is your reactions. Everything we do is a reaction to circumstance. So by controlling our reactions, we gain control over our lives. This is a deeply complicated issue. This subject digs into some of the root causes of what it is that is dividing our nation. Human rights are clearly something to be taken seriously, and I've seen many cases of people being treated unfairly, and I find it upsetting. I would never tell people not to speak up for what they feel are injustices, but I would remind people about some of the harsh realities. Fairness is not a valid reason for anyone to do anything. No one ever told me it was going to be fair, but that doesn't mean we can't create change. My friend Devin Reeves, Devin is an activist in a subject matter that I care deeply about. He works in Philadelphia trying to gain exposure to treatment for addicts and alcoholics. Devin shows up for rallies, he shows up for support groups, he has his voice heard. But most importantly, Devin acts in a manner which is commendable. He is a man to be admired. He uses his time to be of service to other people. He works deep within the trenches. He does unglamorous work, and he does so without the recognition and attention that most activists look for. I've never heard him complain, and I've never once heard him act in an offended manner. But Devin is creating massive change in a city that has been crippled by heroin. He has been effective because he's a man of character and competence. People gravitate towards Devin because they watch him, and they know that he can be trusted. I assure you, the impact that Devin Reeves will make goes far beyond blog articles, retweets, and attention. He himself is a recovered addict. He's been through some real shit in his life. He has every justification to complain about his circumstances, yet he has earned his master's degree, he has a beautiful daughter and family, and is steadily climbing as an important political and service figure in the city. Do it like Devin does it. Don't spend time thinking about how unfair life is. Instead, go do something. Focus on yourself. Be a better, more competent person, and as a result, you will put yourself in a real position to make change. Complaining is the opposite of progress. Being an attractive person. Toughness and competence are the most attractive qualities in people. I look around at the people whom I admire, or the people that seem to have, quote, that thing. It seems like over and over again, they are tough and they are competent. They don't panic. They're not quick to anger. They have control over their emotions, and they are able to get themselves out of complex problems without blaming others. I read about many of these qualities in Jocko Willink's leadership book called Extreme Ownership. Leaders are tough, leaders are courageous, and most importantly, leaders take ownership over everything in their lives. So maybe you're being marginalized. Maybe you have experienced racism. Maybe your boss is a dick. Maybe your life circumstances are harder than others. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter. Years ago, I was at a drug court-ordered group session. The counselor at the group was trying to teach me this exact lesson. He was trying to show me that the way I was acting was not attractive behavior. No one wanted to be around me. I had a victim mentality because of all the things that had happened to me. My dad was with me at the time. I'll never forget it. The counselor looked at me and said, "The most attractive quality in a person is having your shit together." My pop and I would revisit that advice many times over the next decade. If you want to be an attractive person, you need to rid yourself of victim mentality and demand an ownership mentality over everything in your life. You build yourself up from the inside out, and as a result, other people will follow you. That's how we are designed. That's how we have evolved in our tribes. The leader always emerges. The question is, are you going to be a leader or are you going to be another person in the crowd? But what do I know? I have a lot of anxiety about publishing this article. I've had people say things to me like, "What do you know? You're a white man, you have a nice car, you have a hot girlfriend, and you own a home." These discussions make me uncomfortable because I don't pretend like I know what it's like to be anyone other than myself. But here's what I do know. I am the product of a teenage pregnancy. I was raised in a lower middle class household to a working class family. I've suffered deeply from a terrible drug addiction, and I've been through the system enough times to know how easy it is to get caught in the cyclical trap of legal troubles, financial hardship, and despair. Trust me, I've been to the bottom. I know that it wasn't until I looked inside and developed my own character that I was able to create change within the culture. As a result of my character building, I built a website called Sober Nation. Sober Nation is a success in almost every definition. But most importantly, Sober Nation has been very influential in changing the conversation around addiction, stigma, and health resources. I've employed about 40 people in my career. I've created wealth for myself and for others. I've volunteered my time, and I hope to continue to have a positive impact as time goes on. What I'm saying is there's absolutely no way I would have been able to have an impact in any way at all if I didn't work on myself first. So in conclusion, my message to you is to toughen up. If you see something upsetting, then I hope you are able to use those emotions as fuel to the fire. Because the sooner you accept the harsh realities of life, the more easily you will be able to enjoy the life that you deserve. Because no one owes you anything. So if you want to make change, my best suggestion is to start with changing your behavior and your own reactions. Get away from Twitter. Get away from the instant gratification world of confirmation bias and tackle the hardest problem of all. Solve the problem of self. Solve the riddle of self-mastery and discipline and behavior. In doing so, you will have a much greater impact in changing culture. Guys, thank you all for tuning into this episode of the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so honored and humbled to be having my podcast grow in this way. Yesterday was my biggest download day ever, and it really means a lot. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate all the feedback and the reviews that you've been giving me. If you could, do me a favor, give me a rating on iTunes, leave a comment, give me a subscription. It's the best thing you can do to support the show. Before we head out, I'd like to remind you all about the Tim Stodds Academy. I send weekly in-depth lessons on digital marketing, digital sales, business, SEO, online business. Every week, every Monday morning, straight into your inbox. In-depth, highly valuable video lessons to help you grow your own business. You can learn more at timstodds.com/academy. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow.